shot! MVP! MVP! Oh, what a hit! But it's up! It's up! Boom! It's in! It's in! He goes down the left wing. He toe tracked the defenseman. He goes top shelf and he scores!
This is Fair Play, Youth Sports in America, presented by Geico. Here's your host, Julie Donaldson.
Youth sports is not the game it once was. Gone are the days of kids playing at the local park until the sun goes down. Replaced by structured practices, specialized athletes, and sometimes with them overwhelming pressure to succeed. Over the next hour, we will explore this chase for athletic prosperity, hearing from parents, coaches, and kids, as well as stars like Steph Curry and Carly Lloyd, who offer real solutions for families navigating the emotional ride that youth sports offers. What if youth sports was really all about the youth and just the sports? What if youth sports was just about the kids?
Nice tackle, Maddie.
If you want to create a youth sport experience that is going to be desired by a kid, listen to them.
Really, to me, I think they just have to improve on being patient with the kids.
The Aspen Institute is a not-for-profit educational and policy studies group. It essentially exists to convene people and think about values-based leadership. The values are health and inclusion and building healthy communities. You know, we've grown about the video games industry and how our kids spend so much time, but what does the video game industry do? They pay attention to their consumer. They provide kids with a competition experience that they want. If you mess up, there are no adults screaming at you, you know? It's a great environment.
If youth sports were all about the kids, would some parents act the way they do?
I mean, I know everybody wants their child to be the one on the court, their child to be getting all the balls, but there's a lot of pressure that gets put on the youth these days, and they just need your support.
Here we go, guys, here we go. This side, we gotta pick it up. Stand in base, where you at, Kiki, come on.
They need to know that, you know, if they miss that shot, that it's gonna be okay. They got the next one instead of, you got that, what are you doing? I've heard parents screaming at their children while they're on the court trying to do something that they love.
Give him a shot, Blake! Blake, give him a shot!
Oh my God.
Imagine kids taking a math quiz in 6th grade and all their parents are watching and cheering about whether they got one question or another right or wrong. It seems preposterous, but that's what's happening in youth sports, is that there's this exposure and everything is public, which doesn't bring out the best in parents or coaches.
If youth sports were only about the kids, would they be chasing scholarships?
We go and see tournaments all the time. You ever walk into a gym and see 500 miserable kids? Just go to an AAU tournament. They're all playing because their parents told them, you better get a scholarship. Okay. Meanwhile, 450 of them are not.
Would we really be ranking the best 9-year-olds?
You know, a 9-year-old shouldn't be having that type of title and hype and, you know, all that build up on them, because, you know, everybody ain't built for that type of pressure, let alone at 9 years old. Now when kids 13, 14, they like, I'm going to the league. I'm gonna be the #1 pick of the draft, which is fine, but the fact that that's on their mind now, they don't even get to be a child.
Like it or not, in many cases, youth sports is no longer just about the games. Youth sports is all business, big business.
Youth sports is now, at the very least, a $15 billion industry. It's bigger than the NFL, it's bigger than college football, it's bigger than pretty much anything else out there. It's all these parents hopping into this travel club environment at a very early age and writing pretty large checks, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 a year sometimes, to keep their kid in the game.
Joe Arache is nicknamed Joey Baseball. He has north of 25,000 followers on Instagram. Joey Baseball's dad one year spent $30,000 alone on his training and travel. That's the extreme. Some folks are spending as much as 10% of their income on youth sports. The national average spent on food per family is less than that.
And in this environment, athletic participation dropped almost 8% in the last decade for kids ages 6 through 12, according to the Sports and Fitness Industry Association.
In the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, that sports and physical activity have been more linked to household income than ever before. So those with money are playing more and those without money are not.
So a challenge has emerged. How do we keep kids participating in sports? For some experts, the solution to the problem is clear.
Have fun with it.
Fun.
Fun. Fun.
Fun. Fun.
Kids don't play sports if they're not fun. They end up burning out. Their parent might want them to keep playing a sport, but the kids will revolt eventually if it isn't fun. We hope that they enjoy the journey and not just the destination.
Keep it fun through the friendships, the connectivity in which they can create with one another. That's ultimately why they're there.
Well, to me, winning is fun, and I think if you appreciate all that goes into it, you learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about your teammates, you appreciate that camaraderie.
Kids, invariably, they put having fun as the most important thing about their youth sports experience. Winning games, that's like number 88th.
My dad's written a book on this, so he hands it out to parents, and he's always preaching fun first.
What was the reason kids dropped out of sports? Number one reason, it's no longer fun. Coaches that make it drudgery and make it too tough and make it about them, that's when kids quit. But as long as they're fun and having a great time, guarantee you that they're going to want to do it.
1, 2, 3. So how do we confront this challenge? Can parents navigate a youth sports landscape which ranks 9-year-old basketball players? Can kids continue to compete when they don't have the resources to match their peers? The answer is yes, and throughout this program, we will show you stories of families who are navigating the demands of this world and hear from professional stars as well, providing a roadmap to success for others to follow.
From Fair Play Youth Sports in America, Geico presents Play On.
Reese Whitley is an 18-year-old from Philly who has been drawing attention in the swimming community, and his size may have something to do with it.
When I was a freshman, I was probably 6'6", and now I'm 6'9", 240.
He was one of the youngest participants at the Olympic trials, and although he may not have made the cut, it was still quite the experience.
Pretty crazy to think that your kid at 16 was in the Olympic trials.
Reese knows it is important to appreciate everything he has worked so hard for.
Being humble is probably what I've tried to embrace.
Reese will continue his swimming career at Cal Berkeley in the fall. With role models like Michael Phelps, there is no telling how far Reese will go.
For more on Fair Play, presented by Geico, check out NBCSports.com/fairplay. A good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life.
Young people need models, not critics. That's John Wooden. They need models, not critics. Be an encourager.
Bruce Brown spent 35 years as a teacher and coach from junior high through college, guiding kids in football, baseball, basketball, and volleyball. He started a company called Proactive Coaching to help teach adults how to navigate the journey of youth sports.
Pick the play. No need to rush. Good job, Alan.
The first stage of being an athlete is the joy stage. I just love playing.
Come on, you can hit hard. Yeah!
Then comes the technical stage. Somebody older than me is teaching me about this game. Now, we lose a few kids there who just don't want to be taught or being taught by somebody who's making the game too complex or doing it in a negative way. Then comes the competitive stage. And the competitive stage is where the scores start to matter.
Skate!
Not just to me, they matter to all these other people sitting around me. At the competitive stage, my performance matters. And it isn't just my performance against my opponents, it's my performance against my buddies in practice determines my playing time. So somehow my value starts being attached to my performance. We lose a ton of kids at that stage. The last stage is the mastery stage, playing beyond high school. And what's happened in the United States is the competitive stage and the technical stage is getting shoved down to a younger and younger age, where the point where the joy stage lasts about a week. But here's what great coaches do, and here's what great parents do, is they take that strand of joy and they pull it through each of those stages.
Brown's message of developing joy before athletics is one that is shared by many successful coaches, including James Galanis. Galanis has spent much of his life on a soccer field, whether it was playing professionally as a teenager in Australia or now coaching teenagers in New Jersey.
Put it away, Harris. Good. I think I learned from when I was a player, I noticed that the players that were excelling were the players that had outstanding character. And then when I started to coach, I made it a point to try to specialise in that department. Keep your eyes on the ball. I think the first step is making your athlete fall in love with the game. That's the first thing. So there should be a bit of a fun element there so they can fall in love with the game.
Galanis' club, the Medford Strikers, has 14 teams and 200 players. His ultimate goal is to provide each of them with the skills to be successful in sports and in life.
Just leave it on the ground so they can come onto it, meet it. It's easier for them. You create the next play, right?
His most celebrated student is a former member of the Strikers, a player who has applied the coach's lessons at the highest levels of soccer.
Well, I was a typical kid who just relied on talent, who didn't work hard.
The world now knows Carly Lloyd as a two-time FIFA Women's Soccer Player of the Year. But when Lloyd first spoke with Galanis, she was an out-of-shape, unknown college student who had just been cut from the United States under-21 team, desperately trying to find her way.
Well, the first time I called him, I was at Rutgers, and I was in my dorm room. It took me a while because I was pretty much going to quit and contemplating quitting. I'm sure I was a very, very immature Carly Lloyd back then, blaming coaches, blaming teammates. Oh, it was this person's fault, it was that person's fault.
I recall a player that was mentally weak and lacked character and really needed somebody to mentor her and help her navigate through a windy road ahead. You should never drop the bar in terms of what type of effort each player is producing. And in Carly's case, you know, she would produce 70% days and nobody did anything about it. They still kept her on the field because they knew that a little moment of brilliance, she could change the game, so they let it slide.
He had a plan. We're going to train, we're going to work really hard, we're going to get yourself fit, we're going to work on all the things with your character that need to be better, and you're going to get on that under-21 national team. You're going to start and you're going to become an important piece to that team.
She trusts me, she trusts my methodology, she trusts that I care about her. Also, I trust that, you know, she's doing the right things when I'm not around.
He's taken his life lessons through karate, through living in Australia, playing professional, and he's just paid it forward to me, and now it's my job to pay it forward to everybody else. I can't preach enough about how important it is to live a healthy life. That's one of the biggest things that's been life-changing in my career. Parents focus on winning, and yeah, we all like to win, we all like to get results, but I think they're winning already just by having their kids here, because they're going to go and leave this club, whether they play another couple of years or they play 5 years or go on to college, they're going to leave here better people, and I think that to me is winning. Not every person over there is going to become a Carly Lloyd, but being at this club and being around James, they're going to become better people. Their character is going to be better if they go into work. They've learned respect for coaches, for teammates. They've learned about hard work. I think as parents, you want to see your kids succeed so much. You don't want to see them fail. You don't want to see them get benched or the coach not pick them for a team. But just remember, failing is okay. I have failed loads and loads and loads of times in my career, and I've gotten back up, but you have to go through that, and you have to let your kid go through that, because that's what makes them stronger.
Galanis believes the most important result from a youth sports experience is expressed not by the final score, but by the final outcome.
The kids should feel
support from their parents. When they walk in the car after the game, they should feel love, they should feel support, they should feel like their parents are there for them, whether they won or whether they lost. You know, parents can help kids become great athletes, or they could really destroy them.
The intent of every parent is to provide their child with a positive youth sports experience. But as emotions run high and expectations grow, it becomes even more critical that the leadership provided by a coach keeps the athlete's best interest as the #1 priority.
I think a lot of us were doing it at the beginning and thinking, you know, we're teaching character just because we're providing a basketball. All the stats, all the studies show us sport does not teach character. It doesn't. But coaches who intentionally teach it teach character.
When I say go, okay, jog to me and go back to the end of the line. Go.
Think about all the determinants that define positive coaching. You know, a coach that has knowledge of the game, that is a positive role model, that communicates to the players consistently and clearly, that is very encouraging, that allows mistakes.
Can I show up a little? It's because this feels comfortable.
Whatever feels comfortable.
Okay.
Okay?
There's been a lot of great progress that's been made with coaching certification and different outside groups like the Positive Coaching Alliance that helps educate the parent coaches, not just on the technical aspects of coaching, but the way they can be role models and need to be role models for the kids.
Thank you, sir.
Support, support, support. You know, can you support your athlete? Can you calibrate with your athlete and understand what their aspirations are when they're really young? Keep it about the fun.
One athlete of character can change a team. One team of character can change a school. One school of character can change a community. And if we have a lot of communities doing that, we can change states, we can change countries, we can change worlds.
One up on me, one up on 3. 1, 2, 3, 1 up!
Coming up.
There were tears coming out of my eyes in the dugout.
There is no age limit when it comes to sports injuries. Next, we'll meet the father and son whose life changed on the baseball field.
You know, I was wearing 2 hats. You know, at first I was upset for my son. I didn't want my son to have surgery. Certainly didn't want him to be hurt.
From Fair Play Youth Sports in America, Geico presents Play On.
You know, when I was a kid, I used to play soccer growing up, young age, elementary school. Played baseball my whole life. You know, I tried lacrosse a little bit. You know, I used to play summer basketball league, so I played a lot. You know, I think you learn a lot of good things, and obviously you build some athleticism, and you know, that helps on the ice.
The idea is to get kids to do what they enjoy doing and what's fun. If they really like it, give them an opportunity to get better. Teach them how to play the game.
Let's just have fun. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's a game. You want the kid to enjoy himself on the court.
There it is, Josh. That's much better, buddy.
Look, to get to the pros, it's like getting struck by lightning. You know, it's not about that. How about, you know, becoming good enough to play on your high school team? It's not about being #1 in the world.
For more on Fair Play, presented by Geico, check out NBCSports.com/fairplay. You can't always control circumstances. However, you can always control your attitude, approach, and response.
In youth sports, no 2 paths to success are exactly the same, and they don't need to be. Whether just scoring a goal is your goal, or you have higher hopes.
It's Getzlaff in a good spot, scores! Ryan Getzlaff!
There are many different ways these NHL stars reached their destination.
I played volleyball, baseball, football.
Played soccer growing up.
I played lacrosse for 2 years. I played soccer, I played baseball.
Basketball and tennis, and I kayak too.
Yeah, I played soccer, baseball, and basketball.
Here's Gaudreau. Scores! Good shot.
The foundation built through youth sports ultimately helped each of these NHL stars score and reach goals. And for those who hope to follow a similar path, they will undoubtedly be forced to make sacrifices to get there. The costs are many: financial, social, emotional, and physical. And sometimes they may simply be too much. A study by the American Academy of Pediatrics showed that half of all sports injuries in children and teens come from overuse.
Overuse injuries imply that you're doing something repetitively to the point where you're doing it too much. Baseball, softball, swimming, tennis, volleyball, some of these you tend to have more overuse type injuries. Baseball is one of the big ones.
Arm injuries happen at all levels of baseball, from million-dollar major leaguers to kids just hoping to play in high school. A study from the American Journal of Sports Medicine showed the #1 age group for Tommy John surgeries is teenagers. Named after former All-Star pitcher Tommy John, the first to receive it, the procedure basically replaces a ligament in the elbow of the injured arm. In the study, nearly 60% of all injuries to this area of the elbow occurred from ages 15 to 19, and the number escalated at a rate of 9% per year.
There's no silver bullet explanation.
Jeff Passan is a writer and a father. In 2016, he wrote The Arm, a New York Times bestseller about the epidemic of arm injuries in baseball.
The grand spike that we've seen in recent years correlates with the increase in youth baseball being played. The number of days that they're playing it, the number of pitches that they're throwing, the expectation that they need to throw harder. And by the time they reach high school, their elbow's not functioning anymore and they need to go to a consultation with the doctor because they might need Tommy John surgery.
Up in this region is the ulnar collateral ligament.
Jim Steinberg is a general orthopedic surgeon. Approximately a third of his patients are under 18. He knows that when it comes to injuries, no one is exempt, not even the son of a surgeon. Jim's son Jacob has been playing sports for as long as he could walk. As a kid, the sport didn't matter. He just loved to play.
I played basketball, football, and baseball growing up. I think as a kid, my parents threw me into pretty much everything because just being around sports, it's what I love to do. Once I got to high school, I kind of started to move to just baseball. Personally, I wish that I kept going with the other sports.
Talk with scouts and with executives. They'll tell you that they actually value the multi-sport athlete better, not just because they understand that he's going to have less wear and tear on his arm, but because they feel like bringing in those other elements that you get from other sports makes you a better athlete.
Jeff Samardzija is one of those rare athletes who had an opportunity to make the choice between playing Major League Baseball or in the NFL. A star pitcher and wide receiver at Notre Dame, his sports journey included some important life lessons.
For me, it was good to try a lot of different things because I wasn't great at other things. So I had to learn how to ride the bench and come in as a substitute and you know, not be the guy on a given team. So at times when you're riding the bench and you learn how to deal with those things and you know, how do you bounce back from them? How do I improve to get off the bench and play?
In high school, Jacob's sole focus turned to baseball for year-round conditioning and workouts. As his skills on the diamond developed, specializing seemed to pay off when he received serious interest from colleges.
I think it's hard. You have a 15, 16-year-old teenager and you have these coaches, you know, blowing smoke up your backside, for lack of a better term. And a lot of them were reasonable, but some of them would put a lot of pressure on a kid to basically say you have 48 hours or a week to make a decision as far as whether or not you're going to commit to my school. That's a lot on a teenager, but it's not binding. It's a verbal commitment you can't really sign in any major sport until you're a senior. The kid can easily decommit and decide they maybe want to go elsewhere. At the same token, the school can decommit from you if you don't progress the way they think you should progress. And injuries certainly come into play too.
Midway through his sophomore year, Jacob verbally committed to the University of Miami and they to him. The decision put him on the cusp of fulfilling his dream to play in college baseball. But at a spring tournament a year later, that dream was suddenly cast into doubt.
First pitch to the second batter, I felt something in my elbow and I was just expecting it to be something normal that would go away as the game went on, just something I had to deal with. And as I kept going, it just kept getting worse and the pain was so bad I had to take myself out after the second inning. It was pretty scary. I mean, there were tears coming out of my eyes in the dugout. I went over to the corner and It was not a fun moment, but I knew I'd be all right eventually, but it was scary not knowing what was going on at the time.
Jacob Steinberg's injury ended up being a partial tear of his ulnar collateral ligament, making him a candidate for a newer, less invasive operation in which an internal brace is used to repair the ligament instead of it being replaced. The procedure, which cuts the rehab time in half, was pioneered by Jeff Dugas at the Andrews Sports Medicine Clinic in Birmingham, Alabama. Less than 3 months later, Jacob was soft tossing a baseball. But even though he was making progress, Miami's interest in him waned, leading him to begin the difficult process of decommitting from the U and exploring other options.
Definitely at first I wasn't too happy about it. I was really upset. For 2 years I had set my mind, set my everything on that school, and after 2 years, all of a sudden one day that's not what's happening anymore. It was definitely a lot for me to handle, but now I'm just trying to take it as a blessing in disguise for more opportunities, and it just made me work that much harder.
Only 6 months after the operation, Jacob was back on the mound and would soon return to throwing in the 90s. A full recovery to his previous physical strength, coupled with improved mental strength as well. And for Jim, as he transitions from father back to surgeon, the takeaways are clear.
Hopefully play other sports, especially if they're not in high school yet. Take breaks as far as the throwing. Pitchers shouldn't be throwing year-round anymore. You can certainly train and condition, but not to compete 12 months out of the year.
A lot of times what we see is that somebody will get hurt because they're throwing with their arm fatigued. That's the whole point of pitch counts, because the last thing you want to do is fatigue your shoulder and go out and throw. What happens when you do that is you lead with your elbow when your arm is fatigued, and you really place your elbow and your shoulder at greater risk of injury.
A year after surgery and now fully recovered, Jacob found his next landing spot, accepting an offer from Ole Miss. He will bring with him a scar in his right elbow that represents a life-changing chapter in his journey.
Coming up, the story of basketball prodigy Nico Primus.
What I expect in between the lines is a beast and a monster. What I expect outside the lines is a 9-year-old child.
We explore how Nico became the top-ranked 9-year-old basketball player in the country and what lies ahead with scouting children.
It might sound crazy, but 10 years from now, people are going to be ranking kids in kindergarten.
That story is next. From Fair Play Youth Sports in America, Geico presents Play On.
I see so many kids that are doing the one sport thing, and they start at such a young age that they don't get to experience all that other stuff. And I think learning from different people, enjoying being outside as opposed to in a rink all the time, it helps you develop as a person.
I played a bunch of sports growing up, played golf, baseball, football, basketball. I loved to play those other sports, and basketball was my first love and something that I knew I enjoyed the work that went into it. There's more to learn in sports, and that I reap benefits in life outside of that, and that's important too.
My advice would be to never stop learning, never stop growing. No matter what pedestal you think you've reached, you can always learn something.
For more on Fair Play, presented by Geico, check out NBCSports.com/fairplay. You can't put a limit on anything. The more you dream, the farther you get.
That Olympic dream probably hit me when I was 14. It happens to everybody, no matter what level you are in the sport of swimming. I mean, the Olympics are the pinnacle of our sport. So, seeing guys like Michael, just kind of a constant reminder of what that Olympic dream is. Now, I'd be lying if I said, I didn't picture myself up on the top of the podium every now and then.
Dreams in youth sports are as common as the games themselves. For some kids, they are there from the start. But for others, dreams follow only when a young athlete discovers an uncommon talent.
I became a very good basketball player without ever having played the game before 14.
Bob Bigelow played his college ball at the University of Pennsylvania, was selected 13th overall in the 1975 draft, and played 4 seasons in the NBA. Following his playing career, Bigelow's focus turned to youth sports, which has included thousands of speaking engagements and writing a book on the subject.
Michael Jordan, who was 10 years younger than me, was 5'9" and 155 pounds. As a 15-year-old, as a sophomore in high school, he tried out for a varsity with a 6'6" sophomore who made the varsity. Michael didn't. He played JV. Every high school coach in America would do the same thing. But no one knew and no one cared because back in 1978, we weren't so hot to trot in America to find out who our next greatest were. We allowed kids like me to grow into the bodies, to find out what would happen later. We don't have those allowances anymore.
There are still millions of kids today who want to be like Mike, even if some aren't old enough to know who he is. They all share the dream, but only 1 in a million achieve it. Nico Primus might be that one.
I think that if you make your dream come true, you can make it anywhere.
Anywhere. A childhood paradise where a kid like Nico can imagine hitting that game-winning shot and raising the championship trophy with his teammates. But for Nico, his possibilities include the realities of long jumping at 3, being a star receiver at 7, and a year later, as crazy as this may sound, being named the #1 ranked 8-year-old basketball player in the country.
Good.
Nico's mom, Michelle Mundy, is a single mother of 2 boys. She attended the University of Florida on a track scholarship, earned a master's degree, and now works to provide her kids with the opportunities to do their best.
So what's your dream for yourself?
My dream for myself is to go to college and make it to the NBA.
You think that's my dream for you?
I don't know what your dream is for me.
My dream for you is for you to follow your dream, whatever that is. And, you know, and I have to support that dream however I can. So that means that if you want to be a good basketball player and you want to go to college, you want to do all these things, it's a lot to go with that.
Michelle's expectations for Nico are clear, on and off the court.
What I expect in between the lines is a beast and a monster. What I expect outside the lines is a 9-year-old child. And that's how we balance the two. It's hot, so be careful.
You got me oatmeal, huh?
Yeah.
But even with all the right intentions, Mundy's son is not just an average 9-year-old. 9-year-olds don't get 1 million views on Bleacher Report or 3,000-word articles written about them in the Washington Post. And 9-year-olds don't have 4,000 Instagram followers. Nico's name exploded onto the youth basketball scene 2 years ago when a website called Coast to Coast Preps awarded him with the #1 ranking in the class of 2026.
Nico was just so much bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody. And he understood that he had another level that other kids couldn't take it to. You take what he's doing currently now, and you kind of try to project it. Man, I'm not God or anybody, so I don't know the future, but it's in his gene pool, so you know he has to make up to at least be a Division I athlete.
Ricky Wilson has been working on the youth basketball scene for the last 9 years. He now runs his own company called Global Grassroots, providing a national scouting and ranking platform for kids starting in 4th grade.
You get mixed reactions. Some people think it's crazy and psychotic that you follow kids around the world and do basketball, but some people enjoy it. And it might sound crazy, but 10 years from now, people are gonna be ranking kids in kindergarten. I won't personally.
Ranking players at this age is not an exact science. Some of the evaluation comes from word of mouth. Some of it is based on a series of pay-for-play showcase events where parents can pay hundreds of dollars to have their kids seen. Mundy, who says she's never paid for Nico to attend one of those showcases, does estimate that she'll spend around $10,000 on his training and tournaments this year. And even though it's paid off with national notoriety, Monday has mixed feelings about fully trusting this process.
I think it's a good thing for the kids. I think it's a good thing to see their name up on the boards. It gets complicated because there's no real way to rank them. It's not like they're in the NBA and you keep them stats. I think sometimes adults play a horrible role in how it's done. I had someone approach me, it's like, I want to be a part of this. I'm like, be a part of what? Like, there's nothing to be a part of. What I won't allow is for someone to use my child as a marketing tool, because it's not what it's meant to be.
For prodigies like Nico, what is next is turning their dreams into reality. For others, the reality is that their dreams are already coming true.
I'm Lauren Arnett, 15, from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. I'm 5'3", last time I checked. I'm 5'3", and I can hit the ball 250 to 260 yards.
Lauren is part of a growing group that is sweeping through golf courses across the country. According to the National Golf Foundation, participation of girls in golf ages 6 to 17 has nearly tripled in the last 2 decades, and there are now more than 940,000 girls playing the sport. The first time Lauren picked up a club, she was 7. The first time she played around with her dad, she was 11. It wasn't long before she beat him.
That was a humbling experience. She was about 12 or 13, and I made it fair because I told her, well, unfair at the time I was thinking, because we played from the same set of tees. So I was like, no, you're not going to play from the red. If you're going to actually say you beat me, you're going to have to beat me from the same place that I hit the ball from. And when we finished playing and I looked at the scorecard and I lost, I was like, I'm never going to hear this down. But I was literally trying to win. And when she won straight up, so I couldn't be mad.
Lauren's win over her dad was hardly her greatest achievement on a golf course. In fact, it's not even in the top 3. At age 12, Lauren was chosen to hit a ceremonial drive in front of Jack Nicklaus. Wow. At age 15, she shot a career-best 69 to win the Maryland Juniors Championship for her age bracket. A few months after that, Lauren was picked as one of 82 youth golfers from across the country to play in a Pro-Am tournament at Pebble Beach.
It's 180 to the tree.
That's it?
Yeah.
Lauren knows that even before her sweet 16th birthday, golf has already given her a lifetime of opportunities. She also recognizes that she can use the sport to make a difference for others.
There are not a lot of African American kids playing golf. They're basketball or football or track. Those are the 3 sports that African Americans usually play. But the fact that if I can inspire an African American boy or girl play golf, that'd be really cool.
Each of Lauren's accomplishments came in large part from her involvement with the First Tee, a nonprofit golf-based organization she joined when she was 11. With costs skyrocketing in youth sports, this program aims to remove that barrier, averaging just $72 for a 6 to 8 week session. First Tee's mission is to reinforce specific core values to help kids on and off the course.
Things like perseverance and honesty, respect, judgment, confidence, all of these things. It is very interactive. You go out in the driving range, you'll see some colorful targets, some marking tape on the putting green. Some games. We do a bunker game where we're not hitting out of sand, the kids are hitting out of water.
Water and golf don't typically mix, but a big part of Lauren's success has come from that unusual combination.
It's very important to be a 2-sport, if not 3-sport athlete. I think that the development of her game and distance has really come from her swimming.
Swimming has been a big part of my life. And I think the core work and the arms and the legs that all go through swimming, that you have to have strong legs, arms, and core for swimming. I think that's what really lets me hit the ball really far.
For millions of kids like Lauren and Nico, the goal is to identify a passion and then enjoy the journey that follows. The role for parents? To provide support and encouragement, a simple foundation from which their kids can chase their dreams.
He is the gateway to his own future. It's going to start and stop with him. Whether he wants to drop basketball and football tomorrow, and I would say to him, what's next? It got to be something next.
While these two athletes may get more attention than others their age, what they have in common with most kids in youth sports is the support of caring parents. The challenge for the adults is determining the best way to help. John O'Sullivan started the Changing the Game project in 2012 to help parents and coaches learn the right way to make the youth sports experience more about the youth.
99% of parents are awesome. They love their kids. They just want to help. And I think youth sports organizations as a whole and schools, we don't do a great job actually teaching parents, here's how you can help. I think the number one role of parents in youth sports is that you are the advocate for the whole person, right? Not just the athlete. You have to look out for the best interests of that human being, which means time off, which means protecting them when they get injured, which means being very intentional about the sport programs and the coaches that we sign them up to participate with. We should be looking at their values and who they are and what they do, not just did they win a lot last year. Number two, be patient. Be patient in this marathon that is youth sports and sports development, and recognize that what is their interest at 7 might not be their interest still at 17, which is okay.
You just have to enjoy the ride. Good, bad, or indifferent, they're your kids. You're going to love them when they finish whatever sport they do. And I want to see the good along with the bad, because when it's done, it's done.
Coming up next, the inspiring story of how a special education teacher has used the game of lacrosse to show thousands of inner-city students the path to a better future.
I took my 11 worst behaving boys in my classes and took them out onto the concrete handball court beside school with a clipboard and about 10 lacrosse sticks and not nearly enough lacrosse balls, and tried to turn them into a lacrosse team, and it went from there.
It's a story about everything that's right with youth sports and how everyone can make a difference. From Fair Play Youth Sports in America, Geico presents Play On.
On the south side of Chicago, the White Sox have created Amateur City Elite, a free, competitive program to help mentor young men both on the diamond and in life. The White Sox provide a safe haven for Southside children, keeping them off the streets and on the baseball field. Since ACE's inception 11 years ago, more than 150 players have earned college scholarships.
I would have never imagined that we would have been so successful so fast.
There we go, guys.
I just wanted to be successful, maybe in MLB and maybe in me getting a degree and living a daily, regular job. But if I'm successful just living life to the fullest, I feel like that's a good life.
For more on Fair Play, presented by Geico, check out NBCSports.com/fairplay. Sports carried me away from being in a gang or being associated with drugs. Sports was my way out.
Life is not fair. I think that's the best way you can tell it. Life is not fair. You know, everybody's not on an even playing field. You know, some people are born into a lot of money. Some people are born into a neighborhood where there's bullets flying everywhere, and there's people selling drugs, and there's gangs and all that stuff. So it's tough, you know, when somebody has resources and somebody doesn't have resources. But you ultimately gonna go after what you want.
Sports can be a vital part of a child's development, a vehicle to teach them many of life's lessons. That is, if the family can afford it.
We'll collect over $100,000 of hockey equipment in just the 2 months of having 6 bins at local ice rinks. And because we do
that is where people like Max Levitt come in. His organization, Leveling the Playing Field, provides sports equipment to families in need.
1 in 5 underserved families won't get their kids involved in an athletic opportunity just because of the cost of the equipment to play. So what we have is a whole warehouse full of equipment. portion of the population spending sometimes tens of thousands of dollars on equipment, and another segment of the population unable to spend $50 on a bat. We should be able to funnel that used equipment down to the kids who really need it.
Access to the right equipment can help expose kids in underserved communities to a variety of sports they may not have seen before. For example, lacrosse in a neighborhood like Harlem in New York City, where children can face adversity on a daily basis.
Very hard growing up in Harlem, not knowing what's right from wrong, or not being able to go to sleep at night because there were gunshots or fights.
In an area like this, it's not always the safest place.
Providing a safe place in a world that can be dangerous, the story of Harlem Lacrosse is one that blends sports, education, and hope, with the goal of empowering children on the field and in the classroom. It began in 2008 through the vision of a special education math teacher in Harlem.
I couldn't teach the kids the color yellow, let alone 7th or 8th grade algebra. I had students who didn't know the alphabet sitting next to kids who were on a 9th or 10th grade reading and math level, but simply were too violent to be in a regular education classroom. And so it was a real struggle for a few months until about November. I took my 11 worst behaving boys in my classes and took them out onto the concrete handball court beside school with a clipboard and about 10 lacrosse sticks and not nearly enough lacrosse balls, and tried to turn them into a lacrosse team, and it went from there.
Harlem Lacrosse has evolved since then, with nearly 1,000 students in 5 cities, spreading the life lessons that sports can teach.
It comes back to communication, all right? And it comes back to being accountable for being the places that you need to be.
And while the program started on the hard courts, it's in the classroom where the hardest lessons are learned.
The fact that we're in the school all day, every day. From the moment the boys get here in the morning to the end of practice, we're going to be here supporting them, whether it's for their athletic needs, their academic needs, or in a lot of different ways, the social needs that some of these boys need, and they need guidance in.
Some guys are bringing the energy. I picked those 3 guys because I wanted to have leaders to start practice.
It does not matter to us if they're going to be lacrosse players, but it matters to us if they're going to be great people. And I think that's what we're really going for.
We're not a sports program. We're not an after school. We are an in-school intervention program. We place a full-time staff member to work in a school building and be there all day, every day.
These kids build a really, really strong identity around lacrosse. You know, for some of the students, it's the first thing in their life that they've ever been successful at. And they find very quickly that if you put a little bit of effort in, you get better quickly. And so they value that, and they keep coming back, and it keeps them motivated. Hey, these are going to be goals for the team in the spring.
I don't think it's very complicated to reach kids. If you put a competent, thoughtful, smart coach in a school, and they know how to teach the game the right way, and they know how to, get a bunch of kids really inspired and behind them, then it could be tiddlywinks, it can be basketball, it can be lacrosse. Kids are going to latch on and want to play to that.
There you go, buddy. Go. Next person, go. Yeah, Courtney, nice hustle. We're fortunate that a lot of the kids that are in our program really love it, and they realize that they're a part of something bigger than just how they present themselves in class. They're part of a team, and they represent all of Harlem Lacrosse.
By almost any measure, the methods used at Harlem Lacrosse are clearly making an impact. In the past 6 years, students have earned $24 million worth of academic scholarship offers.
My mindset is like from 10 to 100. Like the way that I think about, I need to do 10 more push-ups, I need to do 10 more laps, just to make sure I become better as a person.
I looked at Harlem Lacrosse as another family, basically. Whenever I needed something with school, help, they were right there for me. That HLL is the reason I am me today.
Organizations like Harlem Lacrosse are successful examples of how people are using sports to change lives in their communities. But change can come at the national level too, potentially affecting millions of people. That is the goal of the Aspen Institute. Last year at its annual summit, the organization unveiled Project Play 2020, a plan to connect major companies to provide real solutions to the challenges kids and parents face.
Maybe it's an online coaching, portal that can lift the number of coaches above 30% in this country who are trained in the key competencies in working with kids. Maybe it's a PSA campaign that all of the leagues buy into that promotes the message of multi-sport play. Maybe it is their tools that will connect parents with the full array of sport and recreation opportunities in their community, sorted by age, sorted by gender, you could sort by, price. Kids who play sports are 1/10 as likely to be obese. They're more likely to stay in school. They're more likely to go to college. They're more likely to come out and have a good salary. They have lower health care costs. They're more likely to be active. And because they're active, they're more likely to have active kids because of the role modeling. So there's this incredibly virtuous cycle that can be initiated if you can just get kids off the couch without running them into the ground by age 12. So that's the conceit of Project Play 2020.
Let's drop it. Thanks, Dad.
Youth sports has never been more challenging for kids and adults than it is today. But as the stories that we've seen over the past hour have shown, solutions are out there to help kids play and keep playing the games they love, if everyone does their part. Thanks for watching. I'm Julie Donaldson.
For more exclusive Fair Play content, including podcasts with professional athletes and tips from youth sports experts, please visit NBCSports.com/fairplay.